here with Speedball, Mike Bailey. I am Ashley Rosenova with TWM News. This is TWM Talks, Impact Wrestling. First of all, Mike, how are you? How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
That is a lovely background. I love
Thank you.
sunflowers. Delightful.
Hey, so I've been using sunflowers as a background on my Zoom and my Twitch streams for a while, just randomly. But then at my wedding, sunflowers happened to be the flower of choice, coincidentally. So it's a thing now.
It's nice. I like it. Very cheerful. So we do have a few questions, from the community, because,
Mm-hmm.
I'm all about the community and I like to let them have an opportunity to ask, whoever from Impact comes on some questions. But first, let's talk Impact. Let's talk about your X Division run, the most epic X Division run I've seen. I mean, you are quite the fighting champion.
Well, thank you so much. I did 9 defenses in 4 months. Unfortunately, not the most epic of all time. I was doing my best to chase after Christopher Daniels' 13 defense record, but I didn't make it quite that far. Thank you, Frankie Kazarian. But I came pretty close, and I'm very, very happy with it.
Well, that's, good. I was personally excited to see you debut in Impact. My response was, well, it's about time. It's about time we saw you on TV because I've seen you through the independent circuit because, I'm a big fan of Canadian wrestling as
Yeah,
well. So,
thank you.
yeah, I was excited. So, how's life been, at Impact for you?
It's been wonderful. It's been everything I wanted. I wanted it to be. I waited, uh 5 long years of looking ahead to all the possibilities in America, all the things I could do, and of course, Impact was at the top of my list. And it's been like a lot of work, and I definitely felt very prepared coming into Impact. I had a lot of time to think about how I wanted to do things. I had a lot of time to get better, and my situation has led me to a point where I came into Impact as a fully formed, ready to go world-class professional wrestler. And I couldn't be happier that that's been portrayed on television very accurately. So yeah, I'm pumped. I'm happy. I'm excited for what comes next as well. Yeah, exciting times at Impact right now.
Yeah, I've seen you live. I actually saw you in Dallas and I actually saw you in Nashville. So, I mean, you're quite the performer.
Thank you.
What inspired you, as far as to be, the type of wrestler you are? Because you are unique. And I think that really appeals to a lot of the Impact faithful, a lot of wrestling fans. And I'll be honest with you, you have some of the best fans I've had the
Oh,
pleasure of sitting around at these like shows.
well, thank you. So yeah, you mentioned it, but community is important, and I think the wrestling community and the you reap what you sow, and I try very hard to be as nice and as grateful to everyone who supports me as I can be, and I'm super happy to get that back. And uh I'm happy that's felt. I'm happy people are able to recognize that my supporters are especially kind. But yeah, I come from a martial arts background, Taekwondo specifically. And I think it's part of the journey for every single professional wrestler to figure out what they're good at, figure out what their strengths are, and then lean into that and really let that shine through, which is something coming from a very unusual, very martial arts based background. And over the years, I've been really working hard on figuring out ways to make that shine through as much as possible. And it always makes me happy. My favorite thing is meeting people, a lot of children too, who come up to me and say, "Oh, I do karate and I do taekwondo," and then show me their kicks. And I'm glad because again, the martial arts community is very strong, and I think martial arts is great at teaching like things like discipline and respect. And I like to see it. I like when it comes through, and I like when people tell me that they resonate with that.
You know, interesting thing about martial arts. I personally love martial arts as well.
Hmm.
Uh, my father was very big as far as when it came to martial arts. He said it was a
Hmm.
great way for children to develop confidence, self-esteem, discipline. When did you start originally in martial arts? And for everyone that does not know and would be interested in that avenue and that part of your life.
I started when I was 12 years old, which is rather late compared to, a lot of people start very young, as they should. But it was kind of a random thing where I didn't like intend to start martial arts, nor did I love martial arts. As a child, I loved professional wrestling and knew I wanted to become a professional wrestler. And it wasn't until a friend just randomly who lived near my house told me, "Hey, I started doing Taekwondo. It's fun. Would you like to try out?" And I was like, "Sure, this sounds fun." And I went, and the atmosphere was great. And my Taekwondo coach, who I'm still very close with, was back then, he was younger. He was not the image I had of a martial arts teacher, of being old and strict and just disciplinary. No, he was younger. He was fun. He liked competing. He liked mixing it up with a student. He was very active, and he participated in every class, and that really drew me in. But then when I started doing it, I was like, oh, in the back of my mind, it was always, oh, this is going to be great for when I start professional wrestling eventually, which was kind of silly of me to believe as a 12-year-old who had no indication that I would ever actually do professional wrestling for real. But it ended up working out really, really well. But this is the thing that I think is very important about martial arts. People have it in their mind that the style is important, and they need to, you know, they want to do Muay Thai because that's better, or Jiu-Jitsu, or whatever. But I truly believe this is a thing that applies to martial arts, but also to so many other things. But the number one factor that will dictate whether someone will make it to black belt in a martial arts is how close the school is to their home. And how hard is the commute to get? But yeah, because you don't want to go,
Yeah.
an hour and a half every day. But if you have to walk 10 minutes to get to the school, then chances that you end up going every day are much higher. But that's way more important, as well as the atmosphere and the structure in which you learn. I think that really uh going to somewhere where you click with the people that are in charge is way more important. And the atmosphere is, what you seek, and will give you what you're looking for. I think that's way more important than literally anything else. um and I strongly recommend it. By the way, I recommend that anyone listening to this go and try out martial arts classes, especially if you never had, because it's fun no matter your age. Most schools will offer some kind of free trial, and if you don't like it, yeah, again, if they don't, that's your first red flag right there. But most school offers some kind of free trial, and so you can just go and try it. And if you don't like it, don't sign up. But you get a pretty good feel of the atmosphere usually on your first day, and I strongly recommend you do it.
Well, I'm sure, there's a lot of people that are curious about martial arts. There's a great interest in there. And like you said, it's definitely not for everyone. But, as a child, it highly influenced me because, my father and my cousin
Yes.
was a big fan of martial arts as well. Now, off that subject, let's go back to your X Division run. You lost the belt. I'm really sorry, to say that. I was really rooting for you there. And
Thank you.
how do you feel that it got option C?
I wanted a rematch. That's the number one thing I wanted. I really, really enjoyed that match with Frankie Kazarian, regardless of the results. And I was hoping that we would get to go again. So I'm mostly disappointed that didn't happen. Of course, I'm disappointed in myself for not being able to retain the belt. I am, however, excited to watch Frankie and Josh. That I think that could be a really, really epic match, but I still have a chance. There's an X Division tournament that's going to start, that's already started. And I am very excited to do my best to go and get it back.
Well, I believe in you. And is there anyone there that you'd be interested in tag teaming with?
Trey Miguel and I think have great chemistry. We haven't tagged together yet, but I think he and I, in terms of all the people in Impact, I think would do really, really well as a team.
It's good to hear, Trey is a spectacular talent. I see him improve every time as far as when Impact airs, even on the independent circuit.
Mm-hmm.
So I do see him improve a lot, and he's growing, and it's nice to see. I'm very happy for him. And, I'm very happy to hear that, maybe one day we get to see you two team.
Yeah, I think he and I are definitely great opponents, but I think we'd make a great team as well.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. Now, we've got a few questions from the community, from Impact Faithful. So let's get down to it. One of them does want to know, let's see, what's been your favorite match so far? Inside Impact or outside Impact? That includes the independent circuit.
The match, I have said this before. This is not my first time saying it since it happened, but my first title defense against Trey Miguel, who we're just talking about, is absolutely one of my favorite matches from this year. As well, triple threat match where Trey lost the X Division title to Ace Austin, myself, Ace, and Trey. That's absolutely those two matches really stick out in my mind. But I've had so many. I've had a hell of a year, and it's really, really hard to rank them. But these two absolutely stick out.
We have a question from 40K Theories, and he wants she, I'm not honestly too sure because I did not look. I'm sorry.
That's okay. You can just go they then.
Yeah, I just don't, I just always want to be respectful to people. So he wants to know if you they want to know if you ever tried the Reese's burger. Did you get around to it?
No, I have not, but that sounds wild. What is a Reese's burger?
Apparently it's stuffed with Reese's peanut butter cups, candy right inside of a juicy beef patty, topped with a crispy onion, 2 strips of bacon. That's apparently what it is. I've never heard of this either. So this is new to me.
Well, I will do my best to try it, and then I'll make sure to let them know.
Jason wants to know, are you a fan of Cobra Kai?
Yes, big fan of Cobra Kai. Do they mean the show as a whole, or just or the faction within the show? But no, yes, of course I love the show. I love my favorite part about the show is the old school feel to the martial arts sequences that you have, which are very true to like old martial arts movies, where if you watch, unfortunately, a lot of martial arts movies nowadays, the sequences are very edited, very hard to see. And in Cobra Kai, I love what they did, where it's still you can actually see the performers do the techniques, and you can watch the fights, and it's not overly produced, which I really, really like.
Question I have, because I too am a fan of Cobra Kai. Who's your favorite sensei?
So I am definitely Miyagi-Do. So I think Daniel LaRusso, I think his training methods, even though they are a little bit far-fetched, do seem like the best. And when I say far-fetched, I mean that it's very removed from the actual, like the most ridiculous part of the show is how he just has them gardening for like a month and then teaches them karate for a minute, and then they're black belts. But no, I still think the way he teaches is closest to how I teach.
I mean, my favorite sensei, because I'm Cobra Kai all the way, is Terry Silver.
Ooh. So he had the best school, like in terms of training facilities, although it borders on abuse. Actually, no, I guess it was pretty abusive the way he did it.
Was.
But it worked. I mean, his students were good. he taught some badass fighters in a very short time. So
you know, my friends and the people at Total Nonstop Impact, and also from the community Yellowbone, they kind of have a similar question. So I'm just gonna ask it together, which
Mhm.
is, what's your favorite movie? One of them wanted to know what your favorite martial arts movie was or
Ooh.
is.
Uh, so my favorite movie is There Will Be Blood, starring Daniel Day-Lewis,
It's a good
which
movie.
is sorry.
It's a good movie.
It's a very good
It's a
movie.
very phenomenal movie.
I enjoy the acting. I enjoy how it doesn't like it sticks to the story and doesn't like try to tell too many, and it's just very good filmmaking. My favorite martial arts movie. It's I don't know if it's a cult classic at this point, but the very first Ong Bak movie, with Tony Jaa. I don't know if you remember that, but that still is to this day one of my favorites. I mean, I love Bruce Lee, huge fan of Jackie Chan, and I think what he does applies to pro wrestling in a fantastic way. But I am a little bit too young to have been into those growing up. But Ong Bak movie, I don't even remember when that came out, but that absolutely blew me away, and that was definitely it has still to this day some of the best fighting uh that's ever been depicted and filmed in my opinion.
Now I know you have a Twitch channel because I've popped in there a couple of times.
Oh,
Just
that's awesome. Thank you.
yeah, just to see what was up, what was going on, what you were doing. Because you know, I love Twitch. I think it's one of the best communities, just for anyone to have. It's so great to, you know, be interactive with people, and you find people coming in with same, similar, common interest. Now, the times I've popped in, you've done a lot of like watch alongs and stuff.
Hmm.
Javon, from Impact Faithful, wants to know if you're a gamer, what's your favorite game? This can go in any category.
I do love games, though I have very little time to play. I bought a Nintendo Switch a couple years ago to play on flights, and that is almost exclusively where I play on planes, which ends up being a decent amount of time regardless. My favorite game of all time is Final Fantasy VII. I'm a big JRPG guy. However, recently I've loved Hades on Switch. I played that for a very long time. Right now I'm playing Age of Hyrule. What's it called? The Zelda hack and slash game on Switch. But yeah, Final Fantasies, my favorite games. Diablo 2 as well. I've played a lot. Me and my brothers used to do a lot of what do you call it? LAN games when I was younger on our computers. But yeah, no, I have very little time to play. I enjoy my Switch on planes. But yeah, I don't play games on Twitch though. I would like to, maybe eventually, but I do prefer to watch wrestling on there.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, I know you do a lot of watch alongs because I've been there a couple of times, but I was not sure if you had like a gaming category in there as well. So I felt like it was a good question to ask. And
I I would like to get back into it eventually and play some video games on Twitch because I think that's fun. But I again, it goes by priorities, right? And the wrestling is something I'm gonna watch anyways. I like to spend a lot of time watching wrestling, and I need to because it's literally my job. So if I get to do that on Twitch and engage and have fun with the community as well, then that's a plus. We did after very often it's also necessary, like ahead of my match with Frankie Kazarian at Bound for Glory, we did a whole Frankie Kazarian watch stream where we just watched like 10 or 12 of his matches and helped me study for that match, which I think is very important. So the fact that I get to do that, you know, with a great community on Twitch is just a no-brainer for me.
yeah, you know, it's always important to study. It's always important to educate, you know, yourself, especially, you know, there's so much wrestling out there, you know, and I'm not even talking about just recently. I mean, we're speaking, you know, throughout the years. What's your favorite style?
Of wrestling to watch,
Mhm.
I think that wrestling right now is the best it's ever been. And of course, I mean, I've tailored my wrestling style to be part of the X division for a long time, and I'm a huge fan of that style. I've always been. I think, that style doesn't only happen within the X division, also of course everywhere else in many fashions. But I love the athletic, fast-paced action style of professional wrestling, and I think what is happening now is better than anything else that's happened in the history of professional wrestling.
Well, we're going to wrap this up. Mike, thank you so much for being here. And I just want to know, and I always like to ask this question, do you have any words of inspiration or anything you want to tell your fans?
Ooh, yes, a lot. Don't listen to what people say. Look at patterns. Look at what keeps happening. Pay attention to what's around you. Analyze data, and that's a much better way to go through life than by just listening to what people say.
It's great advice. Thank you so much. Anything you
Thank
want to
you.
plug?
I'm at Speedball Bailey on Twitter and Instagram. Of course, watch Impact live on Access TV on Thursdays.
Yep. And also become an Impact Insider on YouTube or purchase Impact Plus. Once again, thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
You have a good day.